The result of the voting is as follows. In favor 76, opposed 18, abstentions 13. Draft Resolution C is adopted by the General Assembly. At this stage, I would like to have your permission to express my deep appreciation for the work achieved by the members of the Third Committee. And also I wish to congratulate them on this. And I think that those who realize the importance of this achievement would feel able to entitle me to congratulate the United Nations organization. I only have to confirm what I have already stated in this session in connection with the importance of the universal respect and observance of human rights. Universal respect for human rights is inseparable from world peace. We do recognize that peace itself is indeed the supreme right of all. We should therefore recognize that at the root of all strife and tyranny, in the present as in the past, lies a violation of human rights in one form or another. The steps taken in the field of human rights must be made effective. They cannot be made effective unless they are incorporated in international agreements which will impose strict legal obligations on the state parties. I have said this many times in the United Nations, and I would like to confirm it, that indeed participation in such agreements should be universal and without reservations. Distinguished Secretary General of the United Nations, who wishes to make a statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, my distinguished delegates, 1 year ago, on 21st December 1965, I welcomed from this rostrum the adoption by the General Assembly of the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. I reminded the Assembly on that occasion that since the adoption and proclamation of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights on 10 December 1948, the world has been anxiously awaiting the completion of all the parts of what was then envisaged as an International Bill of Human Rights, consisting of the Declaration, one or more international conventions, and measures of implementation. The General Assembly will therefore understand my feelings of great satisfaction today when the Assembly has given its unanimous approval to two covenants, one on economic, social, and cultural rights, and the other on civil and political rights, and has also adopted by majority vote of its members an optional protocol to the covenant on civil and political rights dealing with communications by individuals. Today's decisions are the culmination and the outcome of sustained and complex preparatory work to which the United Nations has devoted itself since 1947. It was then decided that human rights and fundamental freedoms, which had been referred to in general terms in the Charter and which were soon to be proclaimed standards of achievement in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, must be made the subject matter of legally binding obligations in international treaties. Drafts of such instruments were elaborated by the Commission on Human Rights from 1947 to 1954 under directives from the General Assembly and the Economic and Social Council, and our thanks are due to the outstanding personalities, among whom were some of the most admired and cherished humanitarians, thinkers, and lawyers of our times, who tirelessly searched for formulas expressing the conscience of the world as regards the legitimate aspirations of men for a worthy place in society. The General Assembly itself has been seized of this text since 1954, and a warm tribute must be paid once again this year to the Third Committee of the General Assembly and its distinguished chairman, Madame Ouazazi, for persevering over nearly 8 weeks to conclude the difficult work on a system of implementation and final clauses, and endeavoring at all times to strike a proper balance between the requirement of effectiveness and the need to obtain a worldwide and early acceptance of the covenants. Mr. President, the instrument which you have adopted today will entrust upon its entry into focus various responsibilities to the Secretary General, not only functions of a ministerial character relating to the custody of the covenants and the protocol, but also the provision of services to the Human Rights Committee and other organs performing tasks of implementation. I gladly accept these responsibilities on my behalf and on behalf of the Secretariat. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, earlier this week, on the occasion of the 1966 Human Rights Day, I had occasion to recall that in the philosophy of the United Nations, respect for human rights is one of the main foundations of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. I pointed out that peace and respect for human rights go hand in hand, as the President has just stated. It is my sincere belief that our decision today will bring us nearer to the kind of a world which our organization is committed to build. I earnestly hope that by early action, which member states alone can take, the covenants on human rights will soon become a living reality. Before conclusion, Mr. President, I just want to make one additional observation. Many representatives have expressed to the Secretariat their wish to have an early opportunity to sign the covenants which we have adopted just now. The Secretariat is therefore arranging for a ceremony to be held on Monday afternoon at 3:30 p.m. in the Trusteeship Council Chamber, at which the covenants will be open for signature. It is doing so on the understanding that normal editorial changes and harmonization of language texts, which cannot be completed by Monday, will be permitted after that date. The representatives wishing to sign will be required to have the credentials specifying the instruments they are empowered to sign. Cabled credentials will of course be accepted on the understanding that credentials in proper form will be submitted thereafter as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. President.